All right, so we're about to take off in this 2022 Toyota Tundra 1794 edition truck. This is a beautiful truck. It's got a lot of really great attributes. One of them that I was able to actually check out last night was the headlights on this thing. If you look at the headlight assembly, it's really impressive. You know, the cutoff line are basically the quality of light and how it projects forward and how it cuts off between where there's light, where there's no light, and how that beam actually is dispersed across the road is incredibly impressive. It blows away my Ford, hands down. It is probably the clearest, most uniform lighting system I've ever seen on a pickup truck before. It's that good. But you know what? When you look at Toyota, you look at some of the other brands, Lexus and such that they own, they've always been able to make a really good headlight. Now, whether or not you love the way the front end looks, you know, I'm still kind of on the fence about this whole design right here. I almost wish it looked like that and didn't have that, but then everyone would say it looks like a Sequoia, I guess. But whether or not you like it or not, one of the things you always want out of your headlights is a lot of light output, and both the fog lights up front as well as the headlights really impressed me. Anyways, we're gonna take off in this truck. We're gonna do a driving evaluation, and we're gonna do it in a very organic way. And what I mean by that is my wife's gonna be with me. We're gonna take off, go pick her up some coffee. We gotta run some errands. We have to head over to Lowe's and pick up some lumber over there, just some small stuff. And you know, it's gonna be really interesting to see just how we feel about this truck, but more importantly, how my wife feels about it. Because I step out of a 450 and get into this thing, you know, I'm stepping out of probably the world's roughest riding truck, getting into a half-ton truck that has air suspension in the back and is definitely tailored more towards comfort. My wife gets out of a luxury SUV, her Expedition Platinum, and she hops into this. So, you know, she's moving from a vehicle that's very comfortable into a vehicle that's, you know, it's a truck, right? What do you expect out of a truck? So it's going to be interesting, and you're going to get both of our impressions on how this truck feels on the road. Now, before we take off, one thing I did want to point out, in the other video, I did not talk about the trailer brake controller. It was kind of hidden here behind the steering wheel. It's in a bit of an awkward location, but yeah, it's right down here. This also has that trailer backup assist where it helps you go straight back with the trailer. The truck at the event I was at wasn't doing too well with it, but this truck should hopefully do better. But those were all pre-production trucks though. This is a cool system. It basically helps you straight line your trailer whenever you're going in reverse. So if you're going to be backing a boat down a ramp or a trailer into a driveway, something like that, the system can really help because it's a hands-free system. You basically don't have to touch the steering wheel. It turns everything and maneuvers everything, and you don't need to put stickers and stuff like that on your trailer for it to work, which is really nice. Anyways, I'm just waiting for the wife to hop in. We're going to take off. Hang tight, I'll be right back. So we are actually here at the drive-thru of Starbucks. It's me and my wife. You want to say hi to everyone?
Hey, everyone.
So we are spending some time in this brand new 2022 Toyota Tundra 1794 edition. It's a beautiful truck on the inside, and if you haven't seen my full tour of the exterior and interior of this truck, definitely go and check that out because, yeah, they've done a lot of really good things. Now, you know, this is a 1794 package, which means it's going to be their top-of-the-line luxury package. It's kind of the equivalent to a High Country from Chevy or a King Ranch from Ford. And they've done a great job. And one of the areas that probably stands out the most is the massive 14-inch screen up front. They've certainly created a truck that's comparable to, you know, any of the other super high trim trucks. And we're going to talk a little bit about the driving impressions of this truck today. All right, so, you know, a pickup truck is a pickup truck is a pickup truck, right? You pretty much have the same layout in most trucks. You have seating for 2 up front, you have seating for 2 or 3 in the back, usually 3, and then you have a bed in the back for cargo and supplies. Where trucks are becoming a little bit different than each other is how they're treating the driver, right? The technology, the features and things that you have. In this truck, it has all the technology you're looking for. I don't think it's really missing anything. But when it comes to the things that you think about while you're driving the truck, such as handling, comfort, things like that, you know, you still have all those same technology features baked in. I can change the driving modes. I can switch from what modes here. There's Eco, Comfort, Normal, Sport, Sport Plus, or Custom. And when you go through these different settings, they change different aspects of the truck, from how it shifts to how the suspension works to, you know, whether the suspension is going to be dialed in more towards a plush kind of ride or whether it's going to be more firm. And you know, the only thing, and I don't want to start this video off with anything negative, but I'm just going to say the only thing I noticed is, for me, when you are in any of the ride comfort modes, there's not a heck of a lot of difference. Whether you're in comfort or whether you're in normal or eco, it doesn't really feel as if there's much of a difference. Hang tight, guys. We're gonna get our drink real quick. Okay, so we're back on the road again. My wife has a very specific drink order that we get here, and it has to be made right, because if it's not, it tastes either too rich and coffee tasting, I suppose, or it tastes too watery, right? Is it good today?
It's a little too watery today, but it tastes good, so
the taste is there. So it's more like a...
Yeah, but they're always really nice about it.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
If they don't get it right, they'll just happily remake it. And the bonus of it is you usually get to keep the wrong drink. Well, you always get to keep it, but then again, it's sad because it just sits there and you're like, it's a shame.
Yeah, it just needs this or that and it would have been perfect. Yeah. So, driving impressions of this truck is, it certainly, has the capability technology-wise to give you all the different comfort feelings that you're looking for. The only thing is, it doesn't necessarily make much of a difference when you switch modes. I've just noticed that, whenever you hit certain types of terrain, you feel quite a bit of body roll in the back, and the back generally feels a bit squishier than I would like. Now, what's interesting about it is that this has the air ride suspension in the back. So it does not use a coil sprung or a leaf sprung suspension back there. It uses airbags. And, you have the ability to raise or lower the suspension in the back, which is really nice. It's going to come in handy if you're going to be towing a trailer and you kind of want to level things out a little bit. But again, being able to dial in comfort modes is also something that makes air suspension really appealing. And it doesn't necessarily feel as if the settings, again, make much of a difference. Now, if I had to compare the ride in this truck to its main competitors, I would say it definitely feels more in line with Ford, leaning towards General Motors. General Motors, to me, is more on the firm side. It's a very planted, firm feel. I like to compare it to kind of a BMW. In my opinion, it's going to be weird to say this, but this has a very Toyota feel to it, but it's closer to the way a Ford truck feels in terms of its ride and its handling and how it feels on the road. I wouldn't say it's even really in the same ballpark as Ram, because Ram borderlines a little bit too squishy, a little bit too floaty feeling, I suppose is the word I would use. But Ram, to me, is like extreme comfort. Like when you ride in one of their luxury trim trucks, it's extremely smooth. It's extremely comfortable. And this truck, again, this borders more towards like Ford and General Motors versus Ram. But that may be intentional, right? Because Ford, #1 selling, General Motors #2, and Ram #3. Maybe they wanted to try to give you the happy medium between the two. It does have a twin turbo V6, and it produces tons of power, tons of acceleration. I'm not going to do 0 to 60 tests or things like that, but what I can certainly tell you is that if you are behind the wheel of this thing and you punch it, it goes. It's super fast, super quick. It's got, over almost 500 pound-feet of torque and almost 400 horsepower, so it's a very, very powerful truck. But in terms of on-road driving dynamics, again, it doesn't feel the smoothest, but it doesn't feel the roughest. It's a very interesting mix. And the other nice thing about it is it does use the sound dampening technology, where essentially it gathers interior sounds and it kind of cancels it out, and it does all sorts of really cool techie stuff to reduce the in-cab sound, while at the same time giving you a interior sound that sounds much more reminiscent of a V8. But yeah, if you try to put aftermarket exhaust on this, you're definitely going to tell that it does not have a V8 under the hood. So, sweetie, you've had some time in the passenger seat of this truck. How do you feel? Passenger inside the vehicle, honest opinion, how does it ride to you compared to, I guess let's start by comparing it to your Expedition, and then we'll go into some of the other trucks that we've reviewed.
It just feels really heavy, real tight, but it's smooth, but it's not. I guess that makes
yeah, very truck feeling. Would that be a good way to say it?
Yes, very truck feeling. The interior is really pretty, very pretty. Very classy looking. But,
yeah.
I'm sorry, going back to the ride. Yeah, it just feels really real tight, very truck feeling. My Expedition, of course, it's smoother. The ride is a lot smoother than that, but it's a nice truck though.
Yeah, the interior looks amazing on it. It looks, I mean, it looks like you have a Lexus of trucks, is really what the interior looks like. They did a fantastic job. The screen is huge. Your icons are huge. It's easy to navigate. But You know, going back to what she said, where your Expedition is smoother, and she's very honest about it when it comes to things that compare to her Expedition. Oftentimes, the Expedition loses, in her opinion, when it comes to ride comfort, like when you're in a Ram, right? So when we have the Ram Limited, with air suspension as well, you know, every single time she rides in that thing, she's like, this is something I could trade my Expedition for. It has a smoother ride, right?
Right. The only reason that I hesitate on trading, which I'm still thinking about it, is that it's lacking, what, 2 seats?
Yeah,
3
you
seats,
wouldn't
right?
have the back 3 seats.
The back 3 seats. And every now and then we'll fill it up with family and just take off in it. What do we fit? 3, 6, 7, 8?
8 people.
8
yeah.
people.
And then when you look at a truck like this, again, everything, it seems like every element is there, except for, in your case, it would be you'd want something a little bit smoother, something a little bit plusher, in terms of more like a Lexus ride versus a BMW ride. That's probably the best way of saying it.
Yeah, it's a good example.
What do you like about the truck? So we know you like the interior. Is the screen size to you, is that a good size to you, or is it too large? Would you prefer something smaller?
Yeah, the screen size is huge. It's like looking at a TV screen.
It is. It's like twice the size of an iPad.
Yeah, but it's nice though. Very detailed.
Yeah, you get to see all the little houses and everything. It's
like,
kind of crazy.
Yeah, very high definition.
Mm-hmm.
The interior is beautiful. I love the color choices that they put. It's like a darker brown with beige, and then with somewhat of a wood look.
Yeah, it's actually a real wood too.
Yeah, it's really very pretty on the insides. And like you said about the Lexus, that's what it reminds me of. Reminds me of the Lexus. The exterior is beautiful also. Very pretty looking truck.
And then I can see the turn signal on the vehicle in front of us. I love how they're starting to do that kind of in motion style turn signal where it looks animated, which is pretty cool. You know, but to be honest, this is a truck. So if you're looking for a truck, I'm not going to say it's like a 3/4 ton. You know, I think I referenced that in a video, but it feels closer to a 3/4 ton than a 1/2 ton. It's probably the best way of putting it. It's certainly not as rough as a 3/4 ton truck. 3/4 ton trucks have a far more jarring ride, and it's not rough. It's smooth, but just like my wife said, it's smoothish. It's
smooth. It just feels tight.
Yeah.
You know, like it's ready to. Well, I don't know.
Ready to do work, maybe.
Yeah, ready to do work. Ready to pull something, you know, heavy. Definitely a lot smoother than your truck.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's not even on the same world, not on the same plane.
Your truck, you can end up with a migraine in it afterwards.
Mm-hmm. And this, it's nice. I guess the way I would describe it, it sometimes feels bouncy. Yeah. Is that a good way of putting it?
Yeah, definitely. I felt that yesterday. I forgot where we were, but yeah.
And you know, there's all sorts of great automotive review channels out there that will give you some really interesting driving impressions of vehicles. But the way we're trying to present this to you is how we would explain it if we were test driving this vehicle off a dealership lot.
Right.
I think that's the key. You guys want to know that. You want to know if we're going to go drive this, how's it going to feel? And, you know, when I drive a GMC or... Well, I haven't really done a lot of Ford reviews. Believe it or not, they're the only company that won't send me a vehicle because I'm like an hour and a half outside of their range. But when I do like Ram, General Motors, whether it's GMC or Chevrolet, the interesting thing about those trucks is you instantly know what you like about one versus the other. And sometimes what you like or don't like about a truck makes it easy to forget. And let me give you an example of that. Like when I do like the GMC Sierra AT4, we've done 3 of those. The only way my wife will probably remember the review I did on the AT4 was the fact that we took it out to the beach and I was doing some irresponsible driving around over some sand dunes one time with it. Not dunes, but it was just the beach itself. I actually got in trouble. Not in trouble with the law. I wasn't breaking the law, so nobody think that. I was just not being a good role model. But that truck, like I said, did you remember that truck had it not been for me reminding you of when we used it?
No, I don't remember. I just remember the incident.
Yeah. But, and what we mean by this is the beach gets really rough at times, and you get these dune-style mounds, And yeah, I hit one of those dune style mounds going a little bit too, well, it wasn't even too fast.
No,
it was
you
just
punched it. You weren't just cruising. You punched it on purpose.
It's an AT4. It's an off-road truck,
like,
right?
What are you thinking?
Yeah, but then I had my whole family in the truck, and people weren't too happy with that. It was something you would do at an automotive event. It's not necessarily something you do with your family in the vehicle.
With nobody in the back seat.
Yeah, but again, not memorable. It wasn't. But I remember you liked the ride of the truck. It was fine. But that's kind of how you described it. It was fine.
Yeah.
The Ram, on the other hand, when we get in that thing, she just remembers it. But here's something to keep in mind. Everybody's opinion on ride handling characteristics is different. Everyone views things differently. Otherwise, BMW and Lexus wouldn't compete against each other. Because some people love a Lexus feel, some people love a BMW feel, some people like a Mercedes feel, some people like a Toyota feel or a Nissan feel. And the reality behind it is you have to sit in it to really feel what it's going to be like for you. All the chairs, all the seats, they're all a little bit different. They all feel a little different. What is great bolstering for somebody might be horrible bolstering for somebody else. So that's what it really comes down to at the end of the day, is you got to get in them and you have to ride it. And you have to ride multiple trucks. You have to get out of one and get into another, go to another dealership and experience what it's like. We're going to experience picking up some plants at Lowe's today. But yeah, just wanted to give you kind of a deep dive into the thought process that I go through whenever I do a vehicle review. And, you know, I have my wife here with me, and she is always part of that process. I always ask her, and because I love her feedback. What might be great for me, what might be all bragging for me, might not be for her, because we're looking at two different things. But yeah, we're going to spend some more time in this. It's a really nice truck. It's really comfortable for the most part. It again, you know, it may not be as comfortable as some, but it's certainly comfortable than a lot of the other vehicles out there. But it's really nice. We like it so far.
Very
Interior's nice.
Truck. Beautiful truck.
Yep. This little camera rear view mirror, I keep it set on that because I'm trying to get my brain wrapped around using it like this versus your standard mirror. So yeah, we'll have this vehicle for a bit longer, and we'll give you guys a wrap up on it whenever we're done with it. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, I really appreciate it if you took a moment to subscribe to my channel, and definitely subscribe to my wife's channel. She's doing more reviews, getting more videos out there, and she's getting better and better every day, and I love her for that, and she's done a great job. So, Mrs. Big Truck Big RV, link in the description. Guys, if you haven't had a chance, take a moment, subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, and we'll talk to you again very soon.